Hi guys, it's Ola, the hashtag baker, coming from Mmmgirl Bakery. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first video of 2018. Today we're going to look at the classic chocolate chip cookie with a tiny little twist, so let's go. First of all, we're going to add our super soft butter into our bowl. Don't let anyone tell you it needs to be chilled, and don't let anyone tell you it needs to be melted. Guys, that is trash. It needs to be super soft. Soft enough that you can squidge it with your finger without any effort. Then we're going to add our sugars in. I use both brown and white for that classic flavour. The brown gives it this molasses flavour and that chewy texture, and the white just adds that sweetness as well. So just get that incorporated with your super soft butter. I'm going to keep saying super soft just to emphasise that it needs to be soft, guys. And again, we don't want this to be beaten until it's fluffy and light. We're not making cake. We just want this to be incorporated until the butter and the sugar are well together. You can't tell them apart anymore. Then we're going to add our large egg, free range if you please, and a tablespoon of vanilla. I add both of these at the same time because it's easier. A lot of recipes will say to add one and then the other. That's long. Just add them together. Again, we're not trying to beat this until it becomes pale and fluffy and light. We just want it incorporated, so if you look in the bowl, again, you won't notice that you've just added egg. So we're just looking for a nice incorporation. And then lastly, we're going to add 1 cup of flour. In my bowl I have 1.5 cups, but as I said, don't use it all yet. We're going to use the rest for the chocolate chunks. So in terms of adding the flour, I just fold it in and then go through the middle of the dough, so around the edge and then through the middle. Same kind of technique for a macaroon. This is obviously a lot harsher, but yeah, we just do that so that we're not overworking the flour. You know, we're not trying to knead bread. We're just trying to incorporate it. So once you stop seeing flour, you can stop. And then just toss your chocolate chunks in your flour that's remaining. So it will be 1/2 cup left. In terms of the chocolate chunks, you know, you can use chocolate chips if you want, but I think a great cookie has chocolate chunks in it, just because you get more of the chocolate. And I cut mine up by hand from a bar. That's just my preference, so I can decide how big a chocolate chunk I want. And in this recipe, as I said, there's a tiny twist. I use white chocolate chunks because white chocolate is my favourite. Pretty controversial, but I do love it. So just get that incorporated as well. Just like last time, just mix it until you can't see the flour anymore, and that will be your dough done. And as you've noticed, I'm using a KitchenAid bowl. You will see the KitchenAid next episode. I haven't used it this time because I just want to show that you don't have to use it to make cookies. This recipe is so easy. It's really fast. Only if you're going to make maybe double, triple upwards in terms of batch, then I would suggest using a mixer because your hands will probably get quite tired mixing in the flour and the chocolate. But for a small quantity like this, you don't really need it. And now in terms of scooping, I always use an ice cream scoop. I just do it because that, you know, rolling it by hand and weighing each one for equality, that's not really for me. I'd rather scoop it, know it's the same size and shape, because when I roll things by hand, somehow they don't turn out the same size and shape. So yeah, I just scoop it, and this recipe will yield 10 cookies. In this case, because my chocolate chunks were so big, it yielded an additional cookie because it wasn't fitting it inside the scoop. But again, it will just depend on how big your chocolate chip is. If you use chips or if you use store-bought chunks, you will yield exactly 10 cookies. I've been making this recipe for 5 years. It will yield 10 cookies if you use those store-bought ones. Once you've scooped all your cookies, just pop them in the fridge for 10-15 minutes until they're dry to the touch. Once they're dry, put them in the oven. Please don't miss that step out because it stops the cookie spreading. It's a disaster without it. It spreads everywhere, but this is literally key. Once you've taken them out, pop them in the oven, 180 to 200 degrees for roughly 15 to 20 minutes. Double check them at 15 minutes and then come back if you need to at 20. And here it is, the perfect chocolate chip cookie, sweet, chewy and delicious. It's my favorite recipe and it's the one that started the bakery, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. And on a side note, here's a spiced up version, ice cream cookie sandwich that's got sprinkles all around the edge and was delicious. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Please follow, subscribe, like and comment, and don't forget to make your orders at mmmgirlbakery.co.uk. See you next week.